Mr. Kachia. I'm going to teach you today how to make a pork butt. We got butts, we got shoulders, we got Boston butts. They're essentially all the same thing. I picked this up today from Albertsons. It's a bone-in pork butt. It was on sale actually, it's pretty cool. And we're gonna trim it up, we're gonna season it, and then the grill, I got my Traeger, it's heating up to 275. That's what I'm gonna run this cook at today. 275. And so right now I'm just gonna trim this. It's pork butts have a lot of fat, and it's really easy to just kind of cook them as is. But some of this stuff I'm just gonna take off. We're not doing anything super fancy, but basically the way I look at it is if I don't think the fat's gonna render in the cook or it doesn't look good, I'm gonna take it out because I don't want to eat it. So like this thing in here, you see this? I don't know if you can see this, but in this little thing there's like a line of silver skin and fat, and like this thing right here is just, it's just gross. So I'm just gonna take that off, and I'm gonna kind of dig into this pocket just a little bit to get some of this stuff out. And again, the worst case scenario if you don't do this is you eat a little bit of fat, but that's okay because we're shredding it anyways. Most people can't tell, so that's why I liked the fact that someone suggested that I start off my barbecue skill quest with pork butts because it's kind of hard to mess up. Anyways, so like this kind of stuff. The other kind of thing that you're gonna look for, I'm gonna cook this fat side down. So what that means is this kind of stuff up top that has a higher propensity to burn if it's just flailing around like this. So I wanna make this meat kind of uniform, and so that helps with the airflow inside the cooker. And most of the stuff that I'm telling you, you know, I didn't make it up. I learned it from like the Aaron Franklin guy I told you about, the Malcolm Reed guy, How to Barbecue Right. I mean, I'm just regurgitating what they do. But like this kind of stuff, not a big deal. Over here, I'm gonna take that off. Shave this down a little bit over here. And what I'm doing is some of this fat cap is thicker than I want it to be, so I'm just kind of thinning it down. Nothing crazy. This knife I got at Amazon, I think it was 20 bucks. It's called a Mercer. This thing is legit. It's flexible, and it's super sharp. Super duper sharp. For my rub today, we're not injecting. I thought about doing an injection, but because I don't do it very often, I didn't want to do that for your first instructional video. But, so again, I'm just making it uniform, but we're just doing a little bit of AP, salt, pepper, garlic, and then I found this yesterday at the store. It's just a pork rub. I'm just gonna try it. So for me, on my porks, I like to have a flavor profile of salty and sweet. So with my rub, typically something that has, you know, some spices, some salt, some pepper, and then some type of brown sugar is a great way to go. So you want to have that balance. And like that. So this thing looks good to me. Next, we have a binder, good old French's. We're just gonna go all over. You don't need a lot. This is not for flavor at all. The only thing that we put this on here for is so that the rub has something to stick to. This, by the way, one of the greatest things you can buy if you really want to get into this stuff. I bought mine at Costco. You know how Costco is. You do like $10 gets you like 6,000 gloves. But it makes it so that you're not washing your hands every 5 freaking minutes. I'm gonna get this all slathered up in mustard. And that looks pretty good to me. All right, so we're gonna start off with the AP rub. So this says Kansas City steak seasoning. It's not, it's just an empty one. And then what I do for my all-purpose rub is it's equal parts salt, equal parts pepper, which is over there. Just, I like coarse black pepper, and then some garlic powder. Boom. Make it how you like it, but I'm just gonna put a light coat of this on, and then we're gonna let that rub packet kind of be the star of the show. So I'm just gonna get a nice little thing over here. Don't forget the sides. This is a lot of, this meat has a bunch of fat and it's thick, so it can handle, you know, quite a bit of seasoning. Just pat this down. Again, we're going kind of light on the all-purpose. We want the pork rub to be the main star of the show. Boom, boom, boom. That looks good to me. Just pat it in. And then with this guy, I hope this is good. Oh yeah, it smells good. This is gonna be great. Battery's going dead. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of coat this whole thing. The other reason why I like some of these store-bought brands instead of just salt, pepper, garlic is because they're gonna have other things in their rubs that affect the color. So when you get into like some cayenne, some paprikas, the brown sugars, things like that, they have a different color profile. And that's what you're kind of looking for a lot of the times with a pork, that kind of reddish mahogany color. A lot of it's from the actual meat itself, but when you have this kind of rub, that also helps. When you're doing your rubs, you don't want to be, smothering it. You just want to pat it. You just want to pat it down. So that's why it's important to apply the rub as evenly as you can. That way you don't have pockets of like crazy amounts of flavor. So this bad boy is almost done. So what we're gonna do on the cook, like I said, our cooker's coming up to temp at 275. And we're gonna let that roll for about 4 or 5 hours. This is a smaller pork butt than what I've done in the past. Normally a pork butt at that kind of temperature is gonna run about 10 hours, but we gotta eat at 5 o'clock. So I went with a smaller butt, and so we should be done by 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna run 275 for about 4 or 5 hours, check temp. We're looking for about 175, maybe 180, and then we'll pull it off and we'll wrap it.